Okay, so I believe we've been enjoying this session so far. We're going to be having our second panel for today, and we're going to be talking about data protection as a business asset. So in no particular order, we're introducing our panelists first. First on our list is Adeyemi. Adeyemi is the legal manager of NASCON Allied Productions PLC, and she's also a certified data protection officer. Welcome. Next on our panelist is Funke Olutoye, representing Mr. Olumide Babalola. Most of us know who Mr. Olumide Babalola is. He's one of our lead privacy data protection there, and also the chairman of the data protection committee of the Nigerian Bar Association, and it's led by Funke Olutoye, who is also a corporate governance and regulatory compliance lawyer. Please you can take your seats. And we also have a lot of panelists coming in, but before they come, I'll just introduce myself. I'm Chinedu America. I'm a senior associate at Scribelex Advisory Limited. It's actually an advisory firm that takes care of privacy issues and cybersecurity, and I'm moderating our section today. So just as I was saying, our third panelist on the list is Mr. Adeyemi Williams. Mr. Adeyemi is an associate of Waterway and also a certified privacy professional. Can take a seat, sir. And then the last guest, we have two more persons joining us virtually. The last physically is Mr. Habib. Mr. Habib is a legal and compliance expert specializing in finance, technology, and law, and is also the legal and compliance manager of Nebula. Mr. Habib, welcome to sit down. And then joining us virtually, we have Mr. Nelson Akirede. Mr. Nelson Akirede is the Chief Privacy Officer of Stanford University. Mr. Nelson, can you hear me? Okay. While we're waiting for him to check in, the last panelist that is going to join us virtually is Mr. Tini Olabuchi. He's a legal consultant of SpySide. So our house is full of experts in their respective field and their respective areas of specialty, and we'll be diving into the topic of our next panel, which is data protection as a business asset, turning compliance into competitive advantage. You're all welcome, so do enjoy. Thank you. So I'll start by saying data protection as a business asset. So we want to paint a scenario, and this is like an icebreaker for all our panelists. All of us here in this room are all in one way or the other, in one company or the other that we have privacy professionals, or we're doing one thing or the other for our company that has to do, or we have done something for clients, companies that has to do with privacy. Now, when you think of a business you personally trust the most, whether it is your bank, favorite clients, or even a local vendor, what is one thing that they do that makes you feel the information is safe for them? So Hannah, start with you.
Okay, thank you very much for the wonderful question. So for me, the key thing I look out for is transparency. Transparency in the sense that when I enter into the banking world and I see that the bank have their privacy notice hung on the wall, even if you don't know anything about privacy or you've not had data protection before, when you enter into the banking world and you see privacy notice, you keep your data, they tell you how your data is safe. So for that, you know that, so it's not only your financial data, your personal data is also safe with them. And you also see that in the privacy notice on the wall, there's details of the DBO, so in case you have any question. So for me, it's transparency. For instance, when you want to buy something online and you check an online store where you want to buy something, and you have one that says something about privacy, data privacy policy online, and you have one that says nothing about privacy at all, then you tend to go with the one that keeps your data safe. So for me, the key thing here is transparency.
Okay, I'll just into it. Okay, so next, I'll say just like I asked Hannah, what would you say is?
It was a while back. I made a request to certify to send my streaming history from like 2017. And I sent every single song number of times this year. And it's just nice to know that these things are being tracked. I like seeing what I'm doing. And I think that's a core aspect of privacy, just the ability to see stuff about you, see who you have for your own insights or whatever purposes. So that availability aspect is key for me.
What's one thing Hannah said? One thing that makes her feel safe is transparency. but them telling you how they handle your data. Then Adeyemi said, one thing that makes him feel safe per se is them making it available to whenever he wants it. Okay, thank you. So I will move down to our questions now. And I'll start with you, okay? I will ask you, in the Nigerian court, the reason for when there's a data breach that leads to leakage of the person's private data, and it has also provided clarity on guidelines on how to fix your internal processes to protect this data. So for example, we've seen cases about unlawful release of data, unsolicited messages or contact by companies to clients for marketing purposes. We've also seen
is the issue of how they manage hard or specific credentials for their customers, right? So we provide them with a widget layer like in the day. Driven with that widget layer, well, we found that we had to make sure that those type of interfaces are not mutable by them. So there's something called an injection attack. So if you create a website and you allow a third party add something to that website, you might be subject to an injection attack and they could defraud your customers like that. So one of the things that we did at that time is we made sure that we provided this very immutable layer for credential collection. And they felt it was a bit too heavy. Some of them would say, oh, we want it to be in our app, slightly too heavy for us, and even make it problem is once we start sacrificing convenience, it's a slippery slope. It's a slippery slope because you always want it to be faster, you want it to be lighter, but at what cost? It's at the cost of privacy. Exactly. So that's one thing we try to do. We try to change the culture of how things are done. And the second thing is we use some of our reporting standards. We try to extend it to them. So, for example, we do a lot of onboarding checks to understand what are you doing with respect to your reporting, what are you doing with respect to continual monitoring, what are you doing about your firewalls, what are you doing about your governance structures when it comes to list access and privileged access. So some of these things, they will say, oh, we do it, and then they check the boxes, and then we kind of like check in with them in a few months time to say, hey, this thing you say I think okay. So it's one of those. So these are two major areas how we kind of get the ecosystem to do.
You have to convince them that it does affect trust, and then you start from that trust on the revenue side. Maybe from the revenue side first. You're working for a business. You're supposed to make them understand how privacy can make them and how privacy will not make them lose money. So starting from the how privacy make side, that's where you need to emphasize. And over time, businesses too have started realizing that
privacy as part of their brand identity. From what you have observed, what usually triggers that shift inside an organization, and how does it change the way teams approach governance and privacy?
Thank you very much. So from what I've seen practically, what triggers that is number one, in the African markets, African customers are now being more conscious and they're being aware. There's now a lot of awareness about data privacy. So everybody wants to know how this organization handles my data. And the question is being asked, how is this organization handling my data, how are they keeping it, and how are they storing it? And African is now looking at it that, okay, I need to monitor this organization, and they can even make money from it because they're now monitoring, and at the standard opportunity, the customer wants to come and sue the company for non-compliance, for data breach. For instance, if you misuse my data, I can easily come to you and sue you in court and get damages for data breach. So the number one trigger there is there's now a whole lot of awareness in the African space on data protection. Then the second trigger is now regulatory pressure. In Nigeria, for instance,